Warren Buffett has penned his final love letter to shareholders. The Pilbara Killer is online. Should Aussie miners be worried? Simon is revamping his portfolio, and we answer a listener question on the timing of dollar cost averaging. Welcome to another episode of Equity Mates, a show that explores what is possible in the world of investing. My name is Ren, and today I am joined once again by Simon. Simon, welcome to the show.
Yes, great to be here again.
Now, Bryce is still away. You're still stepping in. We didn't scare you off last time.
No, it was great. I'm back for more.
You're back for more, but a little birdie told me that you're injured.
Oh, soccer, Wednesday night soccer. Yeah, tough night in the office last night. Got a bad dead leg.
Tough night in the office, like not working here.
Tough night on the pitch.
Let's keep WorkSafe well away from tough night in your own spare time.
Yeah, got a dead leg. You know that feeling when you get hit really hard and you just instantly feel like sick to your stomach, and it's like for that moment, it's just like, oh my God, what's happened? So took a dead leg, but shook it off. But we're 3-1 up at half time, but ended up losing 7-5. So
wow.
Not a great night for me, and another injury.
Not a great night. For people unfamiliar, Simon has a terrible history of soccer injuries. I think every year something happens. Yeah.
Every time I play now, my wife, Gassan, is a bit nervous. 3 seasons ago, broke my nose. 2 seasons ago, tore my Achilles tendon. That was a bad one. And this season just gone, I fractured my finger and tore the tendon off the bone. So yeah, since I hit...
You're a father, you're in your 30s. It's time to give it up, mate.
I know. I think it might be.
All right, well, we're not here to talk about your tough night on the football pitch, so let's get into it.
News and markets.
All right, 2 big news stories we're talking about today. Warren Buffett's final shareholder letter has been published, and a new mine in the African nation of Guinea is challenging Australia's big miners. But Simon, let's start with Warren Buffett's swan song.
Yeah, sad times. Warren Buffett, he's written his final investor letter. He's retiring at the end of the year. This has been part of investing culture for as long as I've been into investing.
Forever, but
for 60,
for our lives.
60 years, for our lifetime. If you just look at that start of looking at 60 years, Berkshire have returned 5.5 million%.
Yeah, 5,500,000%, turning $100 invested into 5.5 million.
Yeah, so I think if you ever doubt the power of compounding, look at that stat. I might print that out and put it on the wall, actually.
I think the important thing to stress, though, is like that's 20% a year. Just shy of 20% a year.
Yeah.
It's amazing what time can do. It's amazing the power of compounding.
It doesn't feel unachievable, 20% a year.
No, well, I mean, Warren Buffett did it.
He's done it.
He is history's greatest investor, though. I mean, one of the highlights of my Equity Mates career was going to the Berkshire Hathaway annual conference. We went over to Omaha, Nebraska. It was the last year that Warren and Charlie both spoke, and it was pretty amazing seeing how cultish people in the room were. You know, like all of their portfolios were in Berkshire. You know, all their kids' money was in Berkshire.
The millionaires he must have made.
But you look at those returns, and you can understand why people were just like 100% all in, undiversified, just backing him.
Yeah, he's made so many people's fortunes.
Yeah. So what was in the letter? What did we learn, or what did he leave us with?
Some of the highlights, obviously spoke quite affectionately of his hometown, Omaha. Talked about how he met Charlie, his long-term partner and friend. I found this amazing. He bought his first and only home. So you think this guy's worth billions and billions. He's lived in the same home for 60 years.
Yeah.
It's crazy. This points to like how humble this guy and down to earth he is despite his fortunes.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons he became so popular was in a world of, you know, fast finance, nice cars, expensive suits, fast talking. Warren Buffett was the antithesis for modern capitalism, and I think that's why we loved him.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he's not dead. We're talking like he's dead. He's just retiring.
He's retiring. He's 95 now. It's great to hear he's still feeling healthy. He goes into the office 5 days a week.
Yeah, no work from home.
I don't even go in the office 5 days a week. He's 95.
Mate, we're lucky to get you 3 days a week.
He also talked a bit about the transition. So my understanding of this, he's trying to dispose of all his holdings to his children's foundations so that they spend it in their lifetime. Is that how you...
Yeah, I mean, he gave away like over $1 billion just before writing this letter. He still is worth like $100 billion. He's still got a lot to give away.
Yeah, wow. And you've got to think about how he practically does that without damaging the share price, because that's a lot of liquidation on
Well,
there.
yeah, I have this theory I've spoken about on the show before. We won't get too into the nuts and bolts, but I think part of the reason Berkshire has so much cash on their balance sheet is the most elegant way to deal with this problem, not of like how you manage his estate, is the world's largest buyback.
Yeah, that would make sense. But he bigged up the new guy coming in, Greg Abel. This was the quote. What a quote. I can't think of a CEO, a management consultant, an academic, a member of government, you name it, that I would select over Greg to handle your savings and mine. What an endorsement that is.
It's big shoes to fill, and it'll be interesting to see how Greg Abel, it's not just him, it's Greg Abel is going to be running the show, but Ajit Jain is going to be doing the insurance business still. He's been like the secret power behind Berkshire's insurance business for years. Ted and Todd are going to be running the investment side. So there's a team, but who knows if all their combined feet can fill Warren's shoes.
Wow, what shoes to fill. But probably the overall highlight for me on the letter is the words of wisdom Warren gives. And he didn't fail this time. A couple of quotes that stood out to me. Again, just shows how humble and good-natured this guy is, despite all his riches. Greatness does not come about through accumulating great amounts of money, great amounts of publicity, or great power in government. When you help someone in any thousands of ways, you help the world.
Nice. Well, that's a good moment to leave it. Warren Buffett, what a great career. And taking over a failing textile mill in 1965, turning it into an absolute giant of American capitalism, and inspiring a generation, including us.
Yeah.
So
I love how he's getting this.
I was wrapping that up, Simon.
I love how he's getting this swan song as well. Often, like greats, they tragically end, but he's getting his farewell tour, which is amazing. He deserves it.
Talking about things that are coming to an end, is Australia's iron ore dominance slowly slipping? That is the question mining investors are asking after the Pilbara Killer has come online.
Pilbara, you've just been there recently.
I have. I was checking it out, doing my due diligence. It's an amazing place up there. So the Pilbara is the northern part of WA, Australia's iron ore hotspot. BHP, Fortescue, Rio, and Gina Reinhart's company, whose name I have forgotten, all have mines up there. And Australia has dominated the iron ore trade for years. The only other major iron ore producer is Brazil's Vale, and that's just given Australia an incredible position. But, and this is where the story comes in,
happened?
For about 30 years, there's been chat of a Pilbara Killer. In the Republic of Guinea in West Africa, there is the mine, I think I'm going to get this right, Simandou.
Simandou, that looks right to me.
The mine there, or the reserves there, 2.8 billion tonnes of iron ore with an estimated annual production potential of up to 120 million tonnes. It's believed to be the largest iron ore project in the world. Now, it has been a nightmare to get set up. So Australia's Rio Tinto has been involved. There are also a lot of Chinese interests in this project. The development started in 1997.
97,
Yeah.
nearly 30 years.
Yeah. And then the Republic of Guinea had a military coup in 2008, free and fair elections in 2010, but then anti-government protests in 2019, 2020 after the president that was elected decided to stay on longer than was allowed. Another military coup in 2021. That leader is still running the country today. But through all that, a number of other challenges, they have finally got the mine and associated infrastructure up and running. And it's been a huge amount of associated infrastructure. They built a 650 kilometre railway to a deep water port that they built to get iron ore out of the ground onto a ship and over to China.
That's remarkable. I wonder how many of the original people who started are still involved. Imagine if you were incentivized, you're not getting your bonus or your whatever it is until it goes live and you've been through all that.
Yeah. I guess the exciting thing for Rio and the people working on this, and I guess for China, is they are now, the first shipment has gone. And so this Pilbara Killer, as it's been named, is now online. And part of the reason it's seen as such a threat is how big it is, but also the grade of iron ore that's coming out. So Australian iron ore is typically like high 50s. BHP, I think, gets in the low 60%. But this Simandou iron ore is producing between sort of 65 and 67%. So a purer iron ore that's coming out of the ground.
Better.
Yeah. Also a lower cost. Now, when it comes to mining, they talk about C1, which is like the cost of extracting a unit or a ton of the mineral outside of all like the mine setup costs and depreciation and stuff like that. It's like the hard operational costs. In the Pilbara, Rio sits around $23 to $24. Fortescue's a bit lower, around $18. The estimate for the C1 cost for this mine comes in around $20. Obviously a bit higher than Fortescue, but lower than Rio.
But better quality.
And also then huge volume. So once fully online, this mine is expected to account for roughly 7% of global supply. So this is something to watch for Aussie miners.
Just seeing this, something it just comes home to me again is the need in Australia for us to diversify our economy beyond banks and miners. They're slapping us in the face again. Is that a bit hard?
Yeah, no, I think that's completely fair. Yeah. So, look, Aussie miners not too worried at this point. I think people have realised that this was coming down the pike for a long time. So, this hasn't been a surprise for investors. But interestingly, in the past month, BHP's up 3%, Fortescue's up 5%, Rio's up 6%. But this will be an important project to watch, I guess, as it really starts producing. Probably the biggest loser out of all of this?
Government.
The Aussie government.
Tax.
To your point around we need to diversify away from banks and miners, we need to diversify our tax base away from banks and miners as well. The 2025-2026 budget, it looked at what would happen to the iron ore price and like it did like a sensitivity analysis. If prices moved this much, how big a hole in the budget will there be? They forecast that a $10 per tonne reduction in the iron ore price would reduce tax receipts by $3.5 billion over 4 years. A price drop of $30 per tonne could cost the budget $10.5 billion. And if we look at some analyst estimates, the range of price impact, like as this mine reaches full capacity, more supply comes online. Obviously, this price is set by the balance between supply and demand. Estimates are it'll have a sort of $12 to $30 a tonne price impact.
Right.
So once again, Australian government, we need to diversify.
One we've got to keep an eye on.
So Simon, we were talking in the office and both you and I separately are looking at changing our core portfolios. And so we thought, let's stop this conversation, save it for the podcast. In this episode, we're going to focus on your portfolio, and then next episode, we'll talk about mine. But I think as a starting point, we both thinking in a similar vein. We have a similar challenge that we are facing and is causing us to think about how we change our portfolios.
Absolutely. And there's one word that keeps popping up. I actually think this is the investing word of 2025 for me, which is leverage.
Leverage. Yes. So why is it the buzzword of the year?
First of all, it's something Bryce has been doing for a while. So it's always
we can't give Bryce that credit. Come on.
He's been doing it for a while. The seed was planted for me actually a few years ago. I was studying corporate finance module as part of my MBA, and the professor there, guy who's got a PhD in finance from INSEAD, Oleg Chuprinin, this guy was switched on, honestly, really switched on. And we asked him the question, if you're a young person with a long-term horizon, what would you advise investing in? He obviously gave us a long-winded answer and a lot of detail, and he couldn't give us advice, but ultimately he suggested a leveraged ETF would be the way to go.
The simple way, you don't need a PhD in finance or to do an MBA. You just need to look at why property has been such a great generator of returns for generations of Australians. It's not because it's grown at an incredible clip. It's because you can put 10% or now 5% down and get the benefits of leverage. It's why private equity has done so well recently. And the great thing for us is more and more products are coming to market.
Absolutely.
And so that's the other reason why it's been a buzzword this year.
Yeah, I think rightly or wrongly, I've been a bit concerned in the past that either the markets are too high or these products just have too much leverage in them. So products like Gear, which gives you 200 to 300%-ish leverage on the A200 index or the Aussie index. But now you're getting things like G200 available, which are moderately geared. So these are around the 140 to 170%. So for me, that's made me a lot more interested.
Yeah. Let's talk about your portfolio. And then if people are interested on Thursday, I'll talk about how I'm thinking about my portfolio. Let's start with what your portfolio looks like today. And to be clear, we're just talking about the core index tracking ETF portion of the portfolio. I know you don't like calling it core, you like calling it body. Let's not get into that. Whatever you want to call it, body, core, just that. We're talking about that portion of the portfolio.
Yeah, so I'll rip through this. So 11% in VAS, Australian index, 12.5% in VHY, which is Aussie index with a dividend tilt. Then I've got around 39% in VGS, which is a global equities fund. About 75% is in US.
It's just the global index.
The global index.
Developed markets only?
Developed markets only, yeah, good point. Then I've got 6.5% in F100, which is the FTSE 100 in the UK. And then I've got 10% in another UK FTSE all-market product. This is a bit of a legacy in an ISA from when I lived in the UK. Then I've got 6% in VEQ, which is Europe, 8% in VGE, which is emerging markets, and then about 6.5% in NDIA, which is India.
Simon, I'm a big fan of a simple portfolio, and I remember Charlie Viola, the financial advisor, came on and he said something that actually made Bryce really blow up his core portfolio back in the day, which was if you have less than 100 grand or something in your core portfolio, you shouldn't need more than 3 lines.
Yes, I agree. And part of this for me as well is simplifying it down. I don't need 8 or 9 of what I've got there. I can get it into 4 or less.
Okay. So the brief is simplify your portfolio and add some leverage to it.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is taking 60% of it and just putting into GGBL, which is a product from Beta Shares. It tracks the global equities. It's very similar to VGS, but it has importantly leverage in there as well. Massive chunk of that is US. About 75%-ish is US. So I'll go through it and then get your feedback. Yep. So 15% in G200. So this replaces VAS and VHY for me. This will be geared Aussie exposure. Then I want to put 15% in emerging markets. But what I'm thinking here is actually putting this into an active manager. One of the things I've learned from being here is that in emerging markets is actually an area where active managers can regularly outperform the index. So I'm looking for an active manager there, not sure which one it will be yet. And then 10% will remain in the UK. It's that ISA. I don't want to touch it. There's tax benefits there. But I guess just to give some props to the UK, bit of a mess over there economically.
Yeah.
Another example of how the economy isn't the stock market. Yeah. It's up 20% year to date.
So that ticks a few boxes for us. Leverage on 2 of the holdings, and you've simplified it down to 4 holdings there. So I do like that. GGBL is 75% the US. G200 is obviously just Australia. So how are you thinking about your global diversification?
Yeah, so run the numbers on this. From a regional perspective, US, Americas, there's a little bit of Canada in there, but mainly US, 47%-ish. Europe will be around 8%. UK will be around 12% because there is a little bit of that in the GGBL as well. Asia developed will be 6%, Australia 15%, and then emerging markets around that 12.5%. A couple of things I probably want to point out is obviously Australia might seem a bit low, but some of these products like DHHF would have 30 to 40% allocation. But for me, the way I think about this is I'm so exposed to Australia already. A lot of my super will have Australia in there. I have individual stocks, I get paid in Aussie dollars. My apartment is in Aussie dollars. So it's only 3% of the global market. I'm happy to dial that down. And then the other one I want to dial up is emerging markets. Now, I think a lot of these global ones only have 5 to 8% in emerging markets, but I read a paper from Morgan Stanley, which I can link in here, which was basically saying that a lot of people are grossly unallocated to emerging markets when you look at the share of future GDP they're going to have. And when you think about countries like India, the growth they're going through, I want to get a bit more in there.
Okay. All right. So I guess the challenge then is finding, one manager, a couple of managers, whatever it is, that give you that exposure.
Yeah.
Have you started that process?
Well, there's a few we've had on the podcast. Orbis have a good one. Fidelity, is it Femex, have a good one. I know Morningstar have like a quality tilt one, which is kind of indexed with a bit of a quality tilt. But yeah, anyone with any suggestions, drop them in the comments on YouTube or on Spotify. I'm open to be pitched to.
Yeah, nice. Okay, any fund managers who want some of Simon's money, come and pitch in. Look, both you and I we haven't made decisions yet. We're trying to figure it out. So if you want to join the conversation, YouTube comments, but also the Facebook discussion group that we have, would love to get your thoughts as we try and work on our core portfolios. Now, Simon, we're going to take a quick break here, and then on the other side, we're going to answer a question on the timing of dollar cost averaging.
Let's ask the community.
Hey, Equity Mate.
I just had a question.
Hey, Bryce, friend. I've got a question.
Your answered.
So you've decided what you're going to invest in, you've built your core portfolio, and now you're trying to figure out how often should you be investing in it. That is the question we're going to be answering today. Now, Simo, dollar cost averaging, it's one of the few superpowers when it comes to investing.
Yeah, it's very important.
How regularly are you investing into your core portfolio?
I am investing every time I get paid. I just align it with when I get paid, automate it, make it happen like that. It used to be fortnightly, but we've moved to monthly recently, so that's how I'm doing it.
Nice. Well, the reason we are talking about this today is we got a question from Judd.
Hey boys, Judd here, long time listener, and thanks to you boys, we're finally ready to start investing. We can invest about $300 a fortnight. We're just wondering your thoughts on, will we be better off investing $300 a fortnight or $600 a month, or wait until we've got a lump sum of say $1,000 and investing in one big go? Are we better off having the $300 in the market every fortnight and paying brokerage fees through the CommSec app, or are we better off waiting until we've got, say, $1,000? Thanks, boys.
All right, great question from Judd. Good question. You're thinking about the right things, timing your DCAs, trying to avoid the impact of fees. I mean, just as a general point, we'll just say that there are platforms out there where you can get really low fees or even zero fees. Now, you can find the names online, Superhero, Beta Shows Direct, those kind of platforms.
Yeah, I mean, horses for courses. Like, you got to choose the brokerage account that works for you. And there's heaps of reasons why you would choose one over another. Access to different markets, different features. We love auto invest. There could be other features that you want. Data sources, all that stuff. Brand and vibes. Plenty of reasons to choose whatever broker you choose. Judd said he's with CommSec. I think the good thing about CommSec is they are feeling the price pressure and they are moving prices down. When we started investing $20 a trade,
wow.
Then they cut it to $10 a trade. And you were just saying that now under $1,000,
$5.
$5.
Yeah.
So they're certainly coming down. But what? Stakes 3, Superhero's 5. There are plenty of cheap ones.
Is Superhero $2 or 5? It might be 2 on ETFs, 5 on stocks.
People can do their own research on that.
It's standard.
I would say Beta Shares Direct is brokerage free. So Judd, maybe have a look at that one as well. But let's answer this question for Judd using CommSec as the example. And I think when we're thinking about the timing of dollar cost averaging, there's 2 ways to approach it. One is a hard mathematical answer, and then the other is a behavioural answer.
Yeah, like many things in life, there's the spreadsheet answer and there's the messy reality of life answer as well.
Yeah, so let's start with the spreadsheet answer. And luckily, we didn't have to crack out the spreadsheet for this. There is an investment frequency calculator online. We'll include the link in the show notes so you can check it out for yourself and put your own situation in. To answer this question mathematically, there are 4 key considerations. How much you have to invest, your brokerage costs, your expected returns on the investment, and then your expected returns, if any, if you're holding that money in cash.
Yes.
So let's go to the calculator and do it hypothetically for Judd.
So Judd said $300 a fortnight. We can probably assume the Macquarie Saver, 4.25%, I think, once you get off the special discount.
Okay, that's generous. I was actually going to assume 0 because I think most people who are saving money to invest aren't putting it in a high interest savings account. They're just leaving it in their bank account.
That's fair enough.
Well, let's do both because the beauty of this is it's pretty easy to play around with.
Yes, and then ComSec, would you say $5? We said, didn't we, for the
$5,
fees? Yep. And then expected rate of return, I guess we could just use the 10% per annum. It's pretty widely accepted long-term market return.
So if we plug that in, according to the investment frequency calculator, the most efficient way would be to invest $1,200 once every 4 fortnights. And the difference over a 10-year period, if you invested every 4 fortnights, you'd have $129,250. And if you invested every fortnight, $300 every fortnight, you'd have $128,000.
Okay, so not much difference. And for this to work, what you'd actually have to do, because you'd have to transfer when you got paid into your Macquarie Saver or whatever savings account you're using, making sure you're always getting that 4.25%, never missing out, and then have another automation going into your shares. So it's not that practical to save $1,000 in returns.
Yeah. Alternatively, if you put 0% as your interest rate on savings and kept everything else equal, it says the most efficient way is $900 every 3 fortnights.
Okay, and the difference there is about $900 or so.
Yeah. So if you want to figure out the mathematical answer for your specific situation, we'll include that link. But I think the point you make there, which it's marginal difference, is the point we want to get to, which is, in our opinion, for our personal circumstances, the right answer is the behavioural answer. The most important thing is regularly investing and finding a way to build that into your routine, or ideally automate that into your financial processes, is the best way to do it.
Absolutely. You can't get returns if you're not consistently putting the money in the market. And if you go to a model where it's like, oh, I'll save up some money, then I'll invest it, there's such a high risk that money gets sucked into something else or never makes it into the market. And that's going to damage your returns a lot more than a few dollars of brokerage here and there.
Yeah, particularly, so I used to be with ComSec, and so at least when I was with ComSec, they have their CDIA account, which is like where you put the cash in that you're going to invest. And so if Judd's with ComSec and he has that set up, that CDIA sits very close to your spending account, and it's very easy to transfer money between the two. So I would say at the very least, get that money out of your, like, near your spending environment and into a brokerage account where it's harder to then transfer it out. Because the big risk is you spend it.
I guess that's another way you could do it, is automate the payment every time you get paid so it goes into your brokerage account, but then in your brokerage account just have the buy set up once every, whatever they said, 4 fortnights.
Yeah, or 3 fortnights.
3 fortnights, yeah.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you
but
definitely
is it worth it?
Yeah, that's for me the question. Is it worth it? For me personally, syncing it with every time I get paid makes sense, because what it also stops me doing is going into the brokerage account and then buying something that I just heard about in an interview we did.
Yes.
Like, SK Hynix, never heard of that before. Now it's riding the AI wave. Let's buy that rather than my...
Because the money's there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good point.
So, Judd, I think for me personally, if I was in your situation, I would say if you've got... You phrased it as having $300 a fortnight in your question. I assume that's because you get paid fortnightly, and that's the sort of money you have left over after you've sort of figured out where the rest of your money needs to go. I would say build a consistent process that aligns with your pay cycle, so you're investing regularly what you can afford, but also do it at the front, like when you get paid, rather than waiting until the back end of your pay cycle and just investing whatever you can.
100%.
Pay your future self first.
Yeah, it needs to come out of your pay, so it's almost as if you didn't get paid that
Exactly.
money.
Yeah. But I think, Judd, whatever you decide, the most important thing is you start investing and you invest consistently. So well done and good luck with it all. All right, Simon. Well, that will do us for this episode of Equity Mates. Don't go and get yourself injured because we're down a Bryce. We can't be down a Simon as well. And you'll be back next episode.
Yep, looking forward to it. See you then.
I will say this about investing. Everything you do learn is cumulative. What I learned at 20 is useful.
Equity.